Hello everybody, John from Movie Burner here, back with another movie review. Today I'm going to be discussing a 2011 release from Danish director Nicholas Winding Refn. Now in hindsight, the film that I'm talking about, which is Drive incidentally, was probably the film which acted as a spark for Mr. Ryan Gosling's transformation from mere heartthrob rom-com regular into the more varied and refined actor that he is today. And incidentally, the director is actually responsible for one of my favourite Tom Hardy films as well, Bronson, and he, I have to say, produced an absolute cracker with this one too. Ryan Gosling's character isn't given a name in this, channeling his best inner Clint Eastwood. He's merely referred to as Driver throughout, but rest assured this is very much his film, and the story closely follows this initially quiet and unassuming gentleman. He works as a Hollywood stunt driver by day and moonlights as a mob getaway driver at night. His steely, ice-cold persona and incredible driving skills really enabling him to excel at both professions. A perfect car flip, completed in one take on the set of one of the films he's working on, highlights this perfectly early on. He does have a strange rule, though, that he does demand of crooks in exchange for his services. That is that he only waits for 5 minutes, and then no matter where they are, he parts up and leaves. This is perhaps perfectly encapsulated in the film's rather striking opener when he swings the car into a car park nearby a baseball ground, and he just casually bails out and leaves the two crooks. It was an interesting and slightly strange concept to implement into a getaway driver's character, but you know what, it's a quirk, and this film is quirky anyway, so I wasn't that fussed by it. Shortly after meeting him, things begin to improve in his personal and professional life. He slowly develops a relationship with his next door neighbour Irene, played by Carey Mulligan, and her young kid Benicio. Shannon, played by Bryan Cranston, his friend and also the man responsible for engineering much of his work on both fronts, lines up a legitimate business venture for him as a racing driver with two Italian mobster contacts, Bernie, played by Albert Brooks, and Nino, played by Ron Perlman, sponsoring it. This provides Driver with the opportunity to leave his criminal life behind finally and look towards a brighter future. Now, it's heavily hinted at that the relationship between Irene and Driver is one that's purely platonic, mostly thanks to his gentlemanly, chivalrous, unspoken manner every time they're together. This is perhaps for the best because her troubled convict husband, Standard, played by Oscar Isaac, is released from prison and comes home to upset the cosy equilibrium built between Benicio, his mother, and their new friend. This moment is absolutely pivotal on a number of fronts. It represents the turning point for Driver and also the film itself. Standard finds himself being blackmailed for protection money, an issue that soon threatens to endanger his young family too, and when Driver gets wind of this, he agrees to help out, returning to his familiar role as getaway driver for one final time. Things don't go quite as anticipated, however. Standard is brutally killed, spoiler alert, but this is 7 years old, so... And both Blanche, played by Christina Hendricks, an associate who tags along for the robbery, and Driver are left at the mercy of the two previously mentioned Italian mobsters. Well, technically it was only Nino initially, but Bernie is soon drawn in to clean up the mess. Drive descends into a hyper-violent madness after this, and it's this part of the film which I did get the most enjoyment out of. It went a little John Wick at times, with shotgun shots to the head, impalings, a brutal kicking in an elevator, and a shocking wrist slice moment accompanied with strange words of comfort. Then there's a highly memorable scene played out perfectly to the perfectly fitting Riz Ortolani's Oh My Love. The score in this film, incidentally, is fantastic. It's perfect, and that particular scene was the icing on the cake in that regard, though the final scene's music is a close second. The violence seems a little out of context and not at all in the nature of the Driver we've seen in the first half of the film, but then again, there was a subtle hint at the psychotic undertone in his psyche during a brief bar altercation with a previous associate. Gosling is fantastic in this film. He plays the role excellently. His facial expressions are a little jarring at times, making him seem almost devoid of emotion, but I enjoyed the rollercoaster ride of madness he went through. Albert Brooks was incredible as Bernie too. The calm indifference that he had towards the brutal violence that he regularly dished out was a tad unnerving, to say the least, though I'll admit to laughing at a particularly violent moment involving a fork in him. Now, I'm not sure if that was the intended reaction or whether I'm just sick in the head, but I laughed anyway. Cranston was also decent, as was Perlman. The whole cast was solid in reality. Hendrick's cameo was outstanding, especially that look of foretelling terror that she had in the motel room just prior to being shot. In the end, Drive was an incredibly enjoyable watch, particularly the taut, violent nature of vengeance that embodied the film's second half. I'm not entirely sure when the film was set, but it certainly had an 80s vibe to it that was only accentuated by the score, visuals, and even that very distinct nylon scorpion bomber that I think only Gosling could pull off and look cool in. It's billed as a crime drama film, but the violent lone wolf showdown with Bernie was like a homage to an Eastwood classic, and it made it feel more like a neo-western at times. It wasn't cinematic perfection, not many movies are. For instance, the motivation behind Driver's actions weren't the most logical. Why did he want to help this complete stranger? Lord knows. But again, I wasn't too perturbed by that. I just enjoyed the action I seen on the screen. I highly recommend giving this film a watch if for whatever reason you've somehow missed it in these 7 years, although I do apologise for spoiling if you do indeed go and watch it. And I'll be giving it a 4 out of 5. Remember guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then do subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes and Google Play, whilst also giving us a little follow on Facebook at Movie Burner Entertainment and on Twitter at Movie Burners. You can also catch up with all the latest reviews we're putting out on the Movie Burner blog at movieburnerentertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.